Waka, what's up, and welcome back to the channel for yet another FC Finch discussion video. Today's going to be a Transformers-related discussion video about the top figures that I'm looking to cycle out of my collection, the reasons why I want to cycle them out of my collection, and what I may be looking to potentially cycle them out for. Now, yes, if you're recalling one of my previous discussion videos where I said I don't do placeholders, I don't buy a figure unless it's 100% what I feel will be my forever version of that figure. Yes, I did say that, but we were all new to the hobby at some point, and sometimes in that newness, that newbieism, or whatever we want to call it, we are not fully aware of all the options available to us. Or not, I wasn't aware of third party, I wasn't aware of all the different variations of the Takara, and we just kind of buy, and then we realize, oh, poop, look what I bought, and now I got to get rid of it because my preferences have changed. So I want to do this video for a couple reasons, and this not only to touch on placeholders, but it's also to kind of touch on the idea that our vision for our personal collections can change over time, especially when we undertake the hobby of collecting something dedicated to a TV show that is 40 years deep now, a franchise that's 40 years deep with so many different characters or variations of characters. And yes, those visions, those ideas for our collection can change over time, and it may sometimes involve cycling out characters in our personal collections. As a personal example, when I started getting into Masterpiece, my goal was kind of to have somewhat of a mix between the more realistic styling that we see in Bayverse with the realistic vehicles and whatnot, but to still be true to the G1 in terms of the colors, in terms of the character, in terms of most of the sculpt. And over time, that has kind of just developed to hell with it. I'm going to buy Bayverse for Bayverse, and I'm going to buy G1 Cartoon Accurate for G1 Cartoon Accurate. And that's where I'm at in my collection today. So let's get into the caveats, because we always got a few caveats for these videos. The first one being is that every character that I'm about to go over is in my personal collection. I've had hands on it. I own it right now. And so that's all I'm going to talk about in this video. Next up, yes, I have reviewed most of these figures, and yes, I did say good things about them. The issue is that my personal feelings, my personal negatives for the character way stronger than all the positives that I listed, because during my review, I also got to be objective, because ultimately it's a toy that you may be considering too, and there's a lot to love about all these figures that I review, but there's also some things that me personally, and that I'm sure all of us personally, do not care for, and that is why I'm looking to cycle these out. And that kind of goes into lastly, number 3. Remember that at the end of the day, everything I say is my opinion and my opinion alone. These collections are a tribute to our love for this childhood series of ours, to our nostalgia for that series, and everybody's preference, everybody's opinions are going to be different. My goal with this video is just to kind of throw another iron into the fire, or more, another ingredient into the pot for when we consider what we actually want from that collection. So if you have these figures and they are 100% your forever figure for this collection, then that's good on you. That is great, because all these figures, at the end of the day, every figure that I'm about to talk about is legitimately a good figure. I would fault no one for wanting to keep these around in their collection as their 100% forever figure. So just remember that. And that's about it. So remember, like, subscribe. These are the 5 figures that I'm looking to cycle out of my collection. Let's get into it. So starting this list, number 5 is going to be a figure that I'm not so much actively looking to cycle out as much as if something better comes along, I'm probably going to pick it up, and that is Masterpiece MP20 Wheeljack right here. Now, oddly enough, when I did pick up this guy, I was aware of his plus variant Toon Accurate colored counterpart, but as I said, at this point in my collection, this guy was one of my first 5 figures, and I kind of wanted that more realistic car deco. I liked the Lancia livery on the car. I liked the fact that he has some greens and reds all over the vehicle versus the all-white Cartoon Accurate model. And now that preference has kind of changed, and I'm really more okay with the G1 deco. Overall, I really do like this mold. Like I have my nitpicks. Like, it does, you try to move the arm and it tends to move out the whole freaking rear quarter panel of the car, but it's not really all that consequential in the grand scheme of things. Now, it's unlikely we're going to get a 2.0 of this mold. Again, the mold is pretty good as it is, and Takara already did the 2.0 Toon Accurate deco, so I don't think we're going to get that the plus Toon Accurate deco, excuse me. So I don't think we're going to get that 2.0. But again, if Fans Toys comes along and does one, I am probably going to cycle out MP20 here. So number 4 on this list is going to be MP17 Prowl. But I'm actually planning to make a linear move and going from the 17 to the 17 plus, or a Fans Toys offering should that come out. But I am perfectly happy with this mold. In fact, if you watch my MP18 Plus Blue Streak review that I did about a year ago, you'll know that I still think this mold stands up. I think it's got great articulation. I think it's fun to transform. I think it looks good. So I'm perfectly happy going to the 17 plus. I just want to move from that more realistic Diaclone aesthetic to the more tune accurate aesthetic, as I previously stated with Wheeljack. Additionally, I also like the addition of the blue clear plastic on the plus mold. I think it brings a bit more to the table of the color palette. The smoked plastic on this one, it just kind of feels a bit bland on this character, and I kind of want him to pop a bit more on my shelf. Now, with regards to MP17, this was probably the third figure that I bought for my collection, so he just had the unfortunate fate of being one of those early figures where, like, oh, this is the one I want, yeah, this is the only one to get, and boom, he's in my collection, and now I'm looking to replace him. So that's going to be MP17 Proud. So third on my list, and the halfway point, woohoo, is going to be the MP27, MP30 Ironhide and Ratchet mold. And yes, I am lumping two figures into one slot. The reason is because my issue is with the mold specifically used, and that exists on both figures. So versus using two slots to say the same thing over and over again, or just using one slot to say everything and the second slot to say above, I'm just going to put both these two figures into that same third spot. Now, let me start with there is a lot to love about these figures. They got great articulation. I think the paint looks really good. They got accessories up the wazoo, indigenous to them both. Unfortunately, I just feel like these hip skirts are a bit unsightly, and I don't like the gap in the belly. And to me, I get a sense that it's unfinished or a bit unloved. I feel like the design engineer got to a point in the design and said, all right, that's it. I'm done. That's good enough. It'll go out to production. Or accounting came into the design engineer and said, all right, budget's used up. Put out what you got. We'll make it work somehow. And that's not why I collect Masterpiece. The whole reason that I love the Masterpiece line from the third-party Ortakar is that I feel like there was an extra sense of love, a sense of occasion put into the design, especially when you give these extra details. And just the gaps in the belly don't do that for me anymore. As far as what I'm planning to switch these out to, as everybody knows, XTransbots has been teasing images. Well, not teasing. They've shown concept images of they got a renders rather. I know they've had a few. They've had actual working prototype, and of course, if we know anything about Fans Toys, we know that they're probably going to do the same thing in about a year or two. So that's what I'm kind of waiting to cycle these guys out for. Moving on to our silver medal contestant, for better or worse, it is going to be MP12 Sideswipe, and this one might not be 100% of a surprise for people, as this mold has been around since the beginning. I still do have some love for this mold, but I just don't think it matches the current aesthetic direction that Takara is going with, the more G1 realistic. I only made a plus version, and again, I think the mold just needs a complete rework to be where it's at with the rest of the collection. Specifically on mine, my chest plate pops out when I try to pose it. Also got this slightly gap in the belly. It just doesn't really look good, and I was playing with it the other day, and I kind of realized all these things and kind of discovered it's like, wow, I really do think that this mold needs to be replaced or needs to be redone. Now, again, this was with the beginning of the Takara Masterpiece collection, so I don't think it's outside the realm of possibility to expect a 2.0 at some point in the near future. Granted, Takara has been going a bit slow with the release schedule lately, but I still think a 2.0 is more than likely to see on the horizon. And no, before somebody mentioned, I am not interested in the Bad Cube version. I just have seen videos of it. I'm not on board with it. I will personally wait for either the 2.0 Takara or a third-party version to take a stab at Sideswipe. Taking the top spot on my list is going to be XTransbots Boost. And this is a tough one because no one besides XTransbots has put out a wind charger option. And even this guy is starting to get on the long in the tooth category. Now, let me start off with, this is a solid action figure. He moves really good. I think the car mode looks great. I think the pant on him is awesome. It's just the transformation absolutely sucks on this guy. It's a complete pain in the ass. And let me be clear, the transformation isn't hard. It's taking a simple transformation and having multiple moves where you have to bend plastic over plastic, and you're just trying to play a game throughout the transformation of don't break it. In fact, this guy does have a small piece broken off. That's due to the lighter plastic. A lot of the plastic on this guy feels extremely thin, and that's what makes it so much more prone to breaking. I mean, and you can argue that, oh, well, Takara and Fans Toys have tough transformations. Like, yes, I agree. I don't disagree with you. Takara and Fans Toys do have tough transformations. But let me tell you something. All the Takaras and the Fans Toys I have, the plastic at least feels up to the task of undergoing multiple transformations. So just kind of putting that out there. Now, as far as where I'm planning to replace this figure with, he's going to be on my shelf a while until we get another option for Wind Charge available. I don't know if XTransbots is going to try to do this figure again. I'm kind of hoping it's next in line with Fans Toys, since there's only 2 more for the Season 1 mini bots, and one of them I know that they're probably not going to do for a while, so I'm hoping Wind Charger is next on the list, or maybe Takara comes up with a surprise and says, hey, guess what, we're doing Wind Charger. But either way, this guy is definitely due to be replaced on my shelf as soon as we get another option that I really like. So there we have it. That's my list of 5 figures that I am planning to cycle out of my collection when the opportunity arises. What are your figures that you are looking to cycle out of your collection when that opportunity arises? Or have you seen some of the figures that I have had in this list, and those are your 100% forever version of that figure? You feel they are fine and don't want to get them out of your collection. Again, I made this as a medium of discussion for everyone to kind of come together and just kind of get all of our opinions down, because the options in this hobby are constantly changing. We're constantly having new companies show up and offer new options for new characters, and so that is just kind of leveling the playing field out considerably. So I really hope that this has given you all something to think about and kind of discuss within the hobby. But that is all for today. So as usual, if you found this video fun and informative, consider hitting that like button down below. That really does help me out, and I greatly appreciate that. Also, comment if you want to see more videos like this. I am trying to do a few more like this, and they seem to do okay in terms of like front as far as videos getting views on my channel. So I am planning to probably stick with it and do it 1 or 2 times a month. Or do you just want me to shut up and do more reviews and not see my ugly face? That is also fine as well, because I don't mind doing more reviews. That said, I urge you to subscribe to my channel if you are not currently subscribed. Thank you so much to those of you that are. I greatly appreciate it. At the time of the filming of this video, we're about 2 away from 500. And that's just absolutely awesome that I am that far along in about a year's time. Again, I know it's not a lot for a lot of YouTubers out there, but for me, it's everything. And I'm super stoked that you all could come along for the ride, take some time out of your day, listen to what I have to say. Again, that does mean a lot to me, and I'm deeply appreciative for all of you out there. And that's going to be about it. So I have been FC Finch. Thank you so much for watching. Good night.